CNN host Chris Cuomo has been grilling different politicians from Indiana about the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, and he was talking to Ryan McCann, who is policy director of the Indiana Family Institute, and he was just hammering him on this bill. Let's take a look.
One of the pictures had people who have a long and pronounced, and I would argue ugly, experience with the LGBT community. They're there in the bill. There's nobody there from these other organizations that you're thinking about minority religion causes. This is pretty clear on the face of what it is about. The outcry of supporters are coming from organizations like yours that are Christian-based with an animus toward the LGBT community. Own who and what you are. There's nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to believe it. But you're not about Native Americans and people for liver transplants, right?
We're for the First Amendment for everyone. We're for the First Amendment and religious freedom for all.
We're for the First Amendment and religious freedom for all. But this has nothing to do with the religious freedom, which is already protected under the Constitution, under the First Amendment. Nobody's religious freedom is being hurt here. Nobody's religious freedom is being hurt. Which leads us to the question of what this is really for. What was this law intended to do?
You have given me a lot of examples of what you say this could do, but I want to stay on what people are worried about it doing. And let me ask you this.
No, and that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I know you are, but
because you mentioned the people at the signing. There were Orthodox rabbis at the signing.
Right.
There were people.
And there are a lot of lobbyists who don't like gays. And that's why some people suspect that it was a private bill signing. Right? It wasn't open to the media.
I disagree with that.
I understand that, and you have your right to.
Is falsely characterizing people, and the
they are
picture
who they are,
that the governor put out.
They are who they are, though, right? You got Micah Clark there, who believes homosexuality is a treatable disorder. You have Kurt Smith, who's identified and associated with your organization, who equates homosexuality with bestiality and adultery. You have Eric Miller, he distributed a fear flyer, falsely claiming that pastors could be jailed for preaching against homosexuality. Is it a coincidence that they're standing behind the governor?
Is it? I don't think it is. All the people who were behind the governor when he was signing this Religious Freedom Restoration Act were those anti-gay lobbyists, those who believe that gay reparative therapy works. Yeah, those kind of guys who are very stridently anti-gay, who have put out a lot of anti-gay rhetoric, as Chris Cuomo points out. But we're not done. He continues.
We want to protect everyone's First Amendment rights. I don't care what faith background you are. I don't care what your sexual orientation is. If you're a gay business owner, I want to protect you from government just as much as a straight business owner. This is about protecting everyone's First Amendment rights.
You understand why that's a little bit of a suspicious premise, though, coming from you, given your past and what you've said about the LGBT community and the animus that you have toward them. And then this bill comes up that expands the definition of who is a religious actor, who can act out of religion, to any kind of business, which is unusual. And it starts to seem suspicious that you were targeting this group to protect yourself from another trend that's coming, which is gay marriage and equality, not just what we saw with Obamacare. That's why I'm asking you the question.
The statements you just said about my views of gays and lesbians is offensive. I have gay and lesbian friends.
Let's put up what you said.
That you would say that is just wrong.
Put it up. Let your friends see it. If these straight people and the president really cared for self-described, what does that mean? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender citizens, and those who love them, they would promote life-changing counseling to help them confront and defeat their temptations. You cannot fix gay. Do you understand that?
I'm not anti-gay. I have gay friends. I know gay people. I've got gay friends. How many times have you heard that? Well, whether or not you're dealing with gay people, whether or not you're dealing with African Americans. When somebody says that, I can't be anti-gay. I have gay friends. I'm not racist. I have black friends. You automatically know that this guy, whoever you're talking to that says that, is full of shit. And that's exactly what it is. Based on his statements alone, I believe that gay reparative therapy will help the self-described homosexuals. Chris Cuomo, brilliant job for hammering this guy. But I'm not quite done. You see, not just the quotes and the people who were behind the signing, who urged Governor Pence and the Republican legislature to sign this license to discriminate bill. And it is proof, there is proof that they already knew that this was going to be discriminating, to be used as a tool to discriminate against people. And there was a reporter that actually asked some of the people who were in that picture whether or not this could be used to discriminate. Let's listen to that.
You guys have said repeatedly that we shouldn't be able to discriminate against anyone, but if you just ignore the existence of this law, can't we already do that now? Can't so-and-so in Richmond put a sign up and say, no gays allowed? That's not against the law, correct?
It would depend on if you were in a community that had a human rights ordinance, that wouldn't be the case.
But most of the state does not have this, correct?
That's correct.
Now, in places that aren't Indiana, which does have these human rights ordinances that say that you cannot discriminate against LGBT people when it comes to housing, education, etc. If you don't live in a place like that, which is the majority of Indiana, you can absolutely put up a sign that says no gays allowed. You can absolutely. Do you understand that? If you're in Indiana, anywhere other than Indianapolis or anywhere that doesn't have one of these human rights statutes, you can put up a sign that says no gays allowed and get away with it under the RFRA. That's what this bill's all about. And they admit it. They knew beforehand. And here they are, point blank, to a reporter. Yes, you can discriminate against gay people under this law. If they didn't mean for people to be discriminated against, they would have added a protected class provision to this law. They would have. But they didn't. They left it out. They omitted it on purpose. Because they wanted to give people a license in Indiana to discriminate against the LGBT community. That's what it's about. It is simply about discrimination. It's not about freedom, and it never was.